Well, hello everybody. I am standing in front of a painting that's not mine, but it matches my hair. This is a day at some point in the cat diaries, but it's my little show and tell as well about what I have coming up on the channel. Pretty much my videos and my channel right now is all about retrieving your own lost parts and a remaking of your whole self into spiritual kintsugi, and rewriting the history based on new golden memories of knowledge and information, true golden truth, putting yourself back together again with gold, and beholding your beautiful whole self. Shut off the negating voices. You have to learn how to have willpower muscle. You have to be able to flex it, because those voices in your head, all that negativity, those are demonic forces that the narcissistic parent initiated. You're bigger than they are. The only reason why that narc ever negated you in the first place is because they're pathetic and they think so little of themselves, they have to pick on little kids. Reparent, and that's one of the things we do. We reparent. We reparent. You know, when I was with that last bad daddy, and again, I talk about how women who are attracted to narcissistic men oftentimes were raised by narcissistic women and by fathers who didn't pay any attention to them. In my case, the mother would not allow it. She forbade him from hugging us at a certain age. And why do you think women then go on to think sex means love? A man touched her. Whoa. You see? How you parent really can fuck up a child. If you're a parent and you're watching this to figure out how not to create a vulnerable woman and their daughter, I'm that vulnerable woman. These are the things that you don't do. You don't verbally berate them a lot. You want to actually acknowledge their successes. And when I create this system is happening in real time. It's called my A.I.M system. So you aim true for you, and the A is assess, and then I is you take inventory, and then M you move it through. And there's all these other things too. That's just the beginning. And it's a way for you, it's a system for you to go, let me assess all my successes. Let me go back through life and actually celebrate myself. I was on the boys' little league team. I was a first base player, pinch hitter, pinch runner, and I used my brother's hand-me-down baseball glove. And I had an accurate arm and a good throw, you know? And I could hit. And if the guy said bunt, I could bunt. But one thing I couldn't do is I couldn't stop feeling afraid of the ball. And I couldn't aim where I hit it. But I could hit it. Yeah! Yeah, those were the days. This one's more impressive. You should listen to these videos more than once. If you're learning to speak English as a second language, my videos are for you. I provide conversational English by an American female, and she discusses her life with you in a conversational style that will then help you learn English and how it is spoken by a normal, somewhat unique thinking American lady. In my channel is the recovery back to who you are. We talk about Mount Everest, and you know the base camp alone is at 17,200 feet above sea level. Idea of Mount Everest being a success story for those of us who have survived the death zone in a metaphoric way, which is we are now aware that the reason why we have X, Y, and Z happening in our adult selves, that we have to work out and work through and change because they're interfering with the happiness level of our lives and our own personal ability to achieve being all that we can be. I mean, when you're with a narcissist, getting day-to-day life to happen is like what you do. It's like you cannot reach your full potential when you're in such a toxic environment, because your energy is going into the day-to-day survival, like I said. And you're in this fight and flight mode. The body goes into fight and flight. You get that adrenaline. Well, when you come out of that, when you finally are out of that, you're not under the same roof as the parent even, that you never know when they're going to yell at you. And usually when they yell at you, it's about the very fabric of your being. And why are they yelling in the first place? I was like, everything's an alarm system with them. And then they say, don't be so defensive. It's crazy, man. You know, the fair rules of fighting. I went online, I wrote them out, and I said, these are the fair rules of fighting. Number one, and we sat down, and he couldn't adhere to the rules. Number one, the rules of fair fighting or arguing with emotion is, number one, never argue at night. And I would say to him, night is not the best time for this argument. Well, let's discuss this in the light of day. I would refuse to argue, because narcissists love to argue at night, especially if they hadn't had a good argument all day long. It helps them feel better. It helps them sleep. Number two, which he broke, no name calling. Now, when someone says to you, you're a crazy bitch, let me ask you if it's the same as if you were to say this. What you just said to me makes no sense at all. Can you explain that to me again? Which one is the name calling? Class. Which one is the name calling? Yes. So I got called crazy bitch so much I had to learn to like it. You know, when I was married to husband number 2, he used the silent treatment. And he would use the silent treatment for 48 hours, for a long time. And I had to learn how to love myself. Learn how to have a conversation, narcissists. They can't. And that's what I found out. You can't have a conversation with these people because it's impossible. So when I brought out the rules of fair fighting or fair arguing with emotion, calling the person a name, that was number 2. Number 3 is no storming off out of the room. If you are getting heated and you say, listen, I need time out, let's pick this up later, I'm going to blow a fuse. Let's stop talking. Every single time you're with a narcissist and you're like always working on yourself because you're like, why is it so bad? I must be doing something wrong. So you're constantly on this self-evaluation, self-assessment. And you don't realize it until later how strong you're actually becoming, because every single time these assholes present a challenge, you meet it. You actually meet it. That's the amazing thing. You meet it. And they then try harder to like somehow make your life difficult, or treat you like you don't matter, or look at you with disdain. Like being looked at with disdain for your existence. Do you have any idea what that feels like? To be looked at with perfect disgust. You know what I see? Not what I used to see, which was hurt feelings within myself. Now I see a demon who is sneering with disgust at the beauty of God's child, of the mother, father's God, divine creation, the golden child, which ultimately is all of us who survive the narcissistic abuse, because we become our own gold. We are doing this thing called spiritual kintsugi. And you go back into the past and you pick up those pieces of yourself that were not celebrated. You piece them together with gold, recognizing that what you are is not what the people of the lie are. You are a child of the light. And my mother and all narcissists and all of those men, those are children of the lie. And they hate the light. And so what they do is they try to get you to dim your light. And they do it by using tactics that are the same ones all narcissists use, which is deception and manipulation. They like to get you vulnerable. Yes. So, I know they're mental tricks. I know they're masters of the oral word. Some of them are not. Some of them do not use words well. They use emotions, and the common wound between those of us who are vulnerable to narcissists and true pathological narcissists, their wound is that they then always want to get what they want. Your wound is then you acquiesce to the person who really truly wants what they want, because they matter, right? My goodness, I'm an expert. Down the road, I will be a life coach for people who are getting over it. But right now I'm laying the groundwork, because you have to get over it, and then you have to rebuild your life and realize you are the golden child of the God and Goddess. When I look at it that way, it helps me. Now, if it doesn't work for you to look at them as demonically possessed, look at them as having permanently damaged features about their personality that basically are irreparable. You can even think of them as personality damage, brain damage is more like it, because there is something faulty with the way they think and perceive reality. And so they're just like German Shepherd guard dogs. They're on the fearful aggression if they're not trained well. So they are aggressive because they're afraid. You're taught as a child of a narcissistic parent that you aren't valuable, aren't worthy or deserving, and you in fact are a burden. And that you're lucky that they have provided a roof and they're paying the bills. So that pretty much is the death zone, if you were to believe that. So that's what we're gonna do. To realize how unloved you felt. But it wasn't because you were unlovable. It wasn't because you, the child, were unlovable or are unlovable. It is because that narcissistic parent is pathologically narcissistic. They're incapable of being true parents because they're still children. They cheated you out of your own childhood. They could never tell you that you were okay. They could never tell you that they really loved you for who you are. They could never even see you. I'm creating a guidebook. Recovery for the narc abuse escapee. I will also call it for the adult children of narcissists, and we'll talk about the Erikson's 8 stages of development and how you yourself can get to a place where you can learn how to have positive communication. But think in the meantime, so to start doing this for yourself. Assess all those times in the past where you were overlooked by this child parent. And it wasn't you, it was them. They couldn't parent you. They didn't have the ability. Don't take it on. It wasn't you. It was them all along. Okay? You know, this is when you're developing your inner life and your will center. And then purpose. It helps you with your purpose. It's your true identity, your role, and your place. And you've got a parent that's not giving you accolades for anything you do well. They ridicule you every chance that you can possibly get. If you're not accepted as a child when you're forming and you're becoming of age, and then you need to direct your ship towards your life, where's your North Star? Where's the compass? Where is the focus going to be? So I'm ityogaguide@gmail.com. And the I stands for inner, and the T stands for transformation. Because you have to have an inner transformation for an outer transformation. The very opposite of what you see happening in our culture, well, in our society, where everybody is focusing on the outside and what it looks like, but what's inside could be a mess. So it's the inner transformation, is how you think and perceive. And it all begins with you, and then it changes your experience. All right, much love. We'll talk again.